Dave Portnoy's here,
Ooh,
El
hi,
Presidente from Barstool Sports. Although, I was wondering, because you just sold Barstool recently, right? Or a year ago?
I sold like half of it. Around New Year's, yeah.
So do you worry, because you sell it to like a big-ish company.
Yep.
Do you worry that, like, I see you have the Fire Goodell shirt on. I believe you've also had shirts that say Goodell likes ISIS. Is that true?
That's true.
That's true.
That
yeah.
caused some controversy. We have a couple of military guys who thought that was in bad taste.
Did they?
Yeah, they did.
I wonder, though, because, like, that's fine when you own it.
Mm-hmm.
But when you now have, like, corporate people with a stake in it,
Yeah.
you actually might have to pay attention when somebody decides that something's in bad taste.
Yeah, so even when we got the Sirius show, I guess Sirius wasn't thrilled with, like, my anti-Goodell, he's Hitler, I want to murder him type spiel, which I do quite a bit.
Yes, I see.
But when I sold the company, so they bought 51%, I had 49%. It was written in basically that I have all creative control of content.
It's dangerous.
Yeah, so I can still do whatever I want to do because our crowd would. I mean, we got arrested protesting Goodell. We handcuffed ourselves to each other in the NFL headquarters. So I've gone pretty hard on the Goodell stuff.
Yeah.
I couldn't just turn it. And to our CEO, who's a woman, Erica Nardini, to her credit, even when we did the Sirius deal, right away, they're like, you guys are killing Roger Goodell, and we have relationships with them. We carry their games. And she's right away, she's like, you know what? If they can't deal with it, we can't do it. It's our brand. There's nothing we can't tone it down.
Was bringing on a female CEO strategic in the sense that, like, like Howard has Robin, so he can get away with a little more because Robin's sitting next to him. You have a female CEO, so it's like some of the stuff, like, because you also get attacked by feminists. You get it all over the place.
Yeah, we've had like full-blown feminist protests against me personally, which we showed up to. But you
handcuffed yourself to them.
Yeah, right. I mean, that was weird. It was awesome. It was awesome that she's a female, but we weren't looking. In fact, we hired a recruiting firm, the company that bought us, and we probably went through 50 all-male candidates, and none of them were right. I actually met Erica through a friend, and she was the perfect fit. It had nothing to do with her being a female, but it was awesome that she was a female, and she's the perfect fit for us. I love the fact that when feminists come at us, I was like, talk to Erica. She's the CEO. And we've had girls through our time. People don't, like, the biggest girl on YouTube, or one of them, Jenna Marbles, I hired her out of a tanning salon. She was a full-time employee. So we've had girls come through, and we're not, it's nice to have it. We're comedians, or we think we are, and we make fun of everybody. I don't care who you are. We make fun of everybody. For whatever reason, the feminist group, they get really offended easily. There's other groups we make fun of. They don't seem to care. The feminists, I made a joke. So we do this thing, highlights without rights, because we have no rights to anything.
Right.
So LeBron...
Because those are expensive.
Right. LeBron flopped the other day, all right? So he got hit by Draymond Green, flopped around like a dead fish. We recreate the highlights ourselves. I despise LeBron James. Goodell, LeBron. Who would I rather die more? I don't know.
Why do you hate LeBron James?
Well, I'm a Celtics fan, so he started with the rivalry with the Celtics.
It's just so funny that, like, Barstool Sports has become, I know it started in Boston, so it was pretty Boston-centric, but it's now a national, if not international, platform. And for the guy in charge to be like, well, I'm from Boston, so I hate these other teams.
Well, but no, we had, when KG was there and Pierce, we had a heavy rivalry with LeBron when he was on Cavs before he left. And I just hated how he was a front runner. Like, he loved doing the press conferences and all this stuff when they won. And then the Celtics beat him and he bolted on the press conference. The decision, I thought, was one of the most arrogant, selfish things of all time. I just think he's the big front runner fraud. And he charged $20,000 to go to his birthday party. He just drives me nuts.
Right.
Back to the feminists. So we made the clip, and we recreate the highlights. I was wearing a dress. I bought a little skirt from across the street.
Right.
And feminists are up my ass, being, what, girls aren't tough? We're making a joke. Relax.
Yeah.
Right. Why would you get mad about that?
And also, no.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
also, they're not. I don't know. If I'm getting jumped by a couple guys, I'm not like, hey, Karen, help me out.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's just get real. What do we want to pretend here?
Yeah, right.
I just imagine you sending it, listen, feminists, go talk to my CEO, and then they go into your CEO's office, and there's just a pit of Jello that you make them all wrestle in.
Maybe we'll incorporate
that.
If
you could pin the CEO, we will take that blog down.
Yeah. So it's they get mad about stuff and different. Well, you guys know. People just get mad,
yes,
outraged about anything. So at some
We're just
point,
talking about Steve Harvey getting in trouble for saying that Asian guys don't get dates.
and right, and he said like white girls. It was a book they were talking about, right? Like basically,
There's a book like how Asian guys can get white girls.
Right.
And then Steve
It's
Harvey
my
was
Bible.
like, they can't.
right,
Yeah.
right, and for the most part, they probably can't.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
there's some truth in stereotypes.
Well, we have to all sit here and just pretend. Like 99% of the people all agree. Like, yeah, that's kind of true. You rarely see an Asian guy with a white girl.
But the fact that he said it, you can't say
But
it.
then there's this 1% that has this voice that needs to be heard. You said that before. It's like, I don't know why the feminists keep on coming. Because if they didn't have something to bitch about, there's no need for them to exist. There's nothing to do. There's no reason to get up. They have to write a blog. They have to go to this website today and they have to attack somebody. So literally, they need guys like you. They need comedians. They pretend to hate them, but in reality, they love them because if it was their perfect world, they wouldn't have an industry.
And it's like whoever stomps their feet the loudest. It's like the silent majority just sits there and doesn't really care about any of it, but it's whoever stomps their feet the loudest and screams. I mean, we went through a thing. So we used to do this concert tour. It's called the Blackout Tour. And it actually, believe it or not, people are like, oh, you want kids to black out. It started because we threw a bunch of black lights in a truck and went to frats. And you had
thank
to,
God. I thought you were going to say something else.
No, you had to wear white so you glow.
But you could see where somebody would assume that you want people to drink to the point that they black out.
Right. That happened. That happened
That happens
after.
too.
Well, the thing got huge.
Right.
But I mean, the feminists then got mad at girls coming to the parties because they're dressed like scantily clothed. It was one of those things. Like, why do they were yelling at girls, being like, "You're not smart enough to know you're getting taken advantage of." Some girls are smart. They're like, "Who are you to tell me like what I think?"
You know who says that is do you know Kirill, the slut
Yeah.
whisperer?
The
He
champagne on your face.
He says the same thing. He's like, I don't understand why these girls who come to my parties, I understand why other people might not like what they're doing, but I can't understand why they're like yelling at the girls and saying,
Right.
don't do this. And the girls are like, I want to.
Right.
I mean, I understand
Fun.
it's their dad yelling at them
Sure.
doing it, but...
Not like an interest group.
No, not
Yeah.
interesting. And in a weird way, it's like reverse. It's like they are saying these girls aren't intelligent or smart enough to make their own decisions.
Yeah.
They have to be spoken for. There's so many stories through that forever.
If we don't get them pregnant, then we don't need a Planned Parenthood, right?
And then the world stops.
Exactly.
I mean, to take it to a bigger thing. if
Yeah,
there's no-
we're really more feminist than they are.
I think so. When did you start your true hatred for Roger Goodell?
Oh, Deflategate. I mean,
That was it.
Yeah, that
The way he handled that. Did that have anything to do with the fact that Tom Brady was on the Patriots?
Well, yeah, I'm a gigantic
Yeah, I
Patriot
thought
fan, so
maybe.
yeah, those were
Yeah.
directly related.
Yes.
I'm a diehard Patriot fan. Everyone hates the Patriots, obviously, but that was a concocted, and now with the Patriots, for Patriot fans, like our season just started, so I wear my Fire Goodell stuff. It's literally like opening day for us as the AFC Championship. We play a 2-game season basically every single year, so it's this game, and then you got to go to the Super Bowl. But everybody with a brain knows Deflategate was basically a witch hunt. Like even if you hate the Patriots, even if you think he did something, they didn't come close to like proving anything.
Right.
They didn't know any of the facts.
It's like making a murderer.
Yeah,
you watch it and you're like, yeah, I think that guy could have done it, but I didn't see any evidence that he did.
Right, and
Like,
they had none, and he just kept lying. Goodell just lies. He's like, it was the Wells report was third party. We had nothing to do. It's like, dude, you wrote the thing. It's like you didn't even know what the ideal gas law was. You have nothing, and they still punished him. So yeah, I despise him. I really, and
do.
not for show.
No.
Like I really, really, really hate him.
Like if you had the chance to speak to him face to, have you gotten to meet him?
Never. He wouldn't let. One time I heard he was at a restaurant in Boston, Grill 23. I camped out. I had like multiple tips he was there. I camped outside the restaurant in the rain for 2 hours, waiting for him to come out. I was bad info. But I would never get, I don't think, close to him now.
You did make shirts that say Goodell likes ISIS, so I can see where he would not want to necessarily have the meeting.
Well, I'm banned from NFL. Like I was going to do it. We have our Sirius show. I wanted to do it. We're going to the Super Bowl. I want to do it from Radio Row, and I'm denied. Like
That's not happening.
No, they won't let me. They won't let me on Radio Row.
Isn't that funny that like Barstool Sports is one of the biggest sports related websites, and it's certainly, I mean, but the NFL doesn't like to embrace their audience, do they? They want to broaden it. Like the kids like Adrian over there, like the dudes. Those are the people who are watching NFL. Those are the people who are the diehards. Those are the people that are going to your website. But the NFL wants to like get the nice halftime show, get this, make it a family event, and it's like
and
you're
it's
talking
also
about monsters
hypocritical.
slamming into each
Yeah,
other.
it's so even like the concussion thing, like they give a shit about concussions. No, they don't. It's they got these lawsuits from the past that they got to deal with. But the whole thing is just it makes me want to puke. It honestly does. And I mean, the Patriots like us. Like the Patriots may try to sneak us in. We have a great relationship with the Patriots.
Well, you're big Patriots fans.
We're huge Patriots fans. The Patriots could like hypothetically like murder people, and we find a way to spin it like that guy deserved to get murdered.
So you moved Barstool to the headquarters to New York.
Yep.
I was up there a couple weeks ago because I did Kat Timp's podcast.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's a really cool spot. It looks like the apartment that Tom Hanks gets in Big.
It
That's
does.
what it
That's
reminds
actually
me
a
of.
great
There's a
comparison.
bar. There's like the desks are kind of open. There's big couches everywhere. Like it's.
Very good comparison.
Was that tough for you to move because obviously it's so rooted in Boston.
Yeah.
But I guess part of it is we got to make the site's huge. We have to embrace the fact that it's huge, not just make it a Boston site anymore.
Right. So that was certainly part of the reason we took the investment and what we were thinking, and we wanted to become a big media brand, not just a Boston company. The two cities we thought we could do that in was here, New York, and LA. We're all East Coast people, so we're going to do New York. It's been harder than I thought, to be honest. I hate New York, despise it. So I wasn't expecting to hate the city as much as I do.
Why do you hate it? It's a
just
great city.
It's just too big. It's too dirty. It's too gross. There's too many tourists.
Right.
Like I walk out with my dog, it's like I'm crossing the street. Like I got to look both ways so we don't get trampled. It's crazy.
How long have you been here?
I probably last October. So
Yeah, it'll disappear after like 2 or 3 years.
That's
It
what-
sucks
how long
at
it
first.
takes, you
Yeah,
think?
2 or 3 years. It sucks and it's noisy and you notice everything, and then you just become numb to it.
and I don't take the subway.
Yeah.
That was like one of my declarations. Like I will not take the subway.
Why not?
Racist.
I
it a
just
racial
hate it.
thing?
Racial? Why? No, doesn't everyone take it?
Yeah, no, everybody does take
So
the
I
subway.
take cabs. It takes me 9 hours to get
But
anywhere. I try to walk.
But why don't you take the subway?
This may not sound like a good reason to you.
Probably there is. I don't think there probably is one.
When I started Barstool,
Yeah.
and when I started, like I had to long commute in Boston, and the bigger we got, the more successful, I phased out of the subway. And it's like, to me, in my brain, I'm going backwards if I go down with the rat race below the subway.
Oh, so you're too big for this
I'm
subway.
too big. I've
I
made it
gotcha.
too far.
Because you don't take the T anymore.
I don't take anything. And I know I see famous people on the subway all the way, and people like, it's the only way to get around Manhattan is take the subway. I will not do it. I will not go back to you rat race people and take the subway. I won't do it.
So you worried that people could be like, is that Portnoy from,
No, it's
from
just
Barstool Sports?
It's
What's
just,
he doing in the
I've
subway?
worked too hard to be
Right.
back underground.
Right.
Like a Teenage Mutant
One
Ninja
of the,
Turtle.
the
I won't
mole
do
people.
it.
Yeah.
When go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I kind of had the same thing until you literally through Midtown traffic are trying to go across town on 42nd Street, and you realize in a minute you could take the shuttle or you could spend 1 hour in a cab.
Right. And to be honest, I don't understand what's going on down there.
You could just Google map it. It's really not tough.
I'm not a big tech guy. Like I just
You own. You run a website, dude.
all right.
Like how are you not?
I'll give you.
You have a podcast network. You have a website. You have.
If you think we know what we're doing, I'll give you. Here's what happens at Barstool. First of all, I was in the lobby and there were all these entourage. I saw Deion Sanders, big entourage, other people entourage. I brought this one dude with me, like 6-something. He didn't mention he's got vertigo. I didn't even know it. We came up to the 36th floor. He puked and had to leave.
I just watched, as I walked in, I just watched you guys talking about it.
He literally has vertigo.
Yeah, it was like a big fucking biker looking dude.
Yeah.
And he almost passed out. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
they go?
yeah, that's kind of funny.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So back to the technology. Before we got bought, I hired a tech guy. This is our tech knowledge to rebuild our website. He erased all our blogs.
So you don't have any of the old stuff.
Our fans call it the rapture. It's like all our old shit just gone. So that's how we work with tech. We literally don't know what we're doing with tech. Still to this day.
So when did that happen?
That probably happened like 2 years ago.
So everything before 2 years ago, you never got it back?
You can specifically get a blog back if you put it through. If you send it now to our new tech team, be like, we need this specific blog back because we want to link to it.
Right.
But if you Google it, it's in the rapture and you just get broken links.
It's gone.
Gone.
That's so fucking funny.
It's unbelievable. So no, we are not a tech group. I mean, that's what, again, part of the reason I did the deal is because we were so backwards with technology.
Did you ever think to yourself, like, okay, I see where this business is going? Because it started as a print publication.
Yeah,
right?
correct.
So, like, I see where this is going. I need to familiarize myself with it. I know I'm too big to take the subway, but you're never too big to learn. Like maybe I should familiarize myself with technology a little bit.
Tried. I mean, in a weird way, it's part of, I think, the Barstool charm is that we had no plan. Like I've seen so many websites come up, and all of a sudden, a lot of people throw money at them. And it's like they haven't even launched. We've been day by day. I always say like brick by brick. It's been so organic. I just wanted a job I didn't hate. That's really why I started it. And if I was making $50,000 sitting in my apartment, being able to not work for somebody else, I would have been happy. So it was all just, it was like a big Jenga. That's how Barstool was built. It was like we never thought more than a second in front of our own faces, and we just Jenga'd this website together.
And how much did you end up getting for 51% of it?
So the company was valued at like, I think, well, I know the answer, and I'm just going to say between 10 and 15 million.
Wow. And you were just looking for $50,000 to sit at home.
Yeah, well,
that's amazing.
Yeah, by the time, and that was like 10 years later. I mean, I still remember the first ad deal we did, and I did everything. And then we have all our old newspapers, so it started as a newspaper. But
that's great, though. By the way, that by the way is the entire argument for the old school way. You have all your old print copies.
We do.
But all the stuff that you put on the website, gone.
Gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember I used to do everything. I wrote. I had aliases, so people wouldn't know I was also the sales guy and doing everything all at once. But I remember the first deal I sold. It was Party Poker, like $20,000 check, and I thought we made it. It's like my parents. I told them. I even got a job halfway through. I had to do a sales job, and I quit at lunchtime because my wife didn't think it was working. She's like, we're never going to have anything. So it took a while to get going. I always kind of thought it was on an up plateau, and we've been lucky in a lot of ways.
When you sold half the company or 51% controlling interest, technically, was there any part of you that kind of had like it had to be bittersweet in a weird way, right?
Yeah,
because it's not just yours. You mean?
Yeah,
anymore?
I run a podcast network myself, and I'm listening to you talk about it. I mean, everything from the not really understanding the tech side to kind of building it brick by brick and kind of learning the aspect. And I'm literally, you're speaking right to me. And I just imagine getting to the point where my company was worth $15 million, and I imagine what I've put into it already, and it's only been a year, and then to give up 51% of it, whereas the money would be great, I would almost feel like, well, what do I do now? I feel like that would be something that would really be.
Yeah, it was for sure bittersweet. I mean, I wasn't looking to sell it. The Chernin Group, that's who bought us, and I didn't know who Peter Chernin was at the time when they reached out, but he's a big swinging dick. He's like a big dude. But they were just right for us. So they were the first people that we had always like VCs or people like, we just want to throw money at you, and I was never interested because like I don't even know what I do with the money. These guys were much more, we want to help you get into the entertainment. So, for example, Sirius doesn't happen without Chernin getting involved. And we have a Comedy Central special that we're doing for a week at the Super Bowl. No chance that happens. People kind of looked at us as like this pirate ship that, and I think some people thought I was like crazy because of some of the things we did. Yeah. Chernin has legitimized it. So it wasn't just the money. And they really sold me, and they've been true to their word that we love the voice. Like the voice is what is attracting us. We don't want to change it. I like trying to be funny. We were getting bigger regardless, and we did okay in the business side. But, I don't know. It was starting, I feel like a ship that was starting to take on water, and we needed help.
Right.
So it was
getting too big for itself.
Yeah, it was going to splinter unless I could get help at the time. And it kind of rejuvenated me, to be honest. I mean, I've been doing it for so long. I was ready to maybe slide to the back and let some of the other guys do it, but we would have to rearrange a lot of stuff. So I really want the expertise that they brought, and so far it's worked out.
Well, it turns it into a big company.
Yeah, or trying to.
Or a bigger company.
Yeah, but it's definitely bittersweet. Yeah. But I still, for the most part, have the autonomy. I almost feel like I'm still running it myself to a degree because we've made the right hires where, like Erica, the CEO, we're really, very lockstep on what we think. So it's been good.
Have you gotten any arguments with them in terms of content, or have they really been true about it and let you do your thing?
They've been very true about it. They've been really true about it. I mean, even the day we announced the deal, which is Perfect Barstool, we made a video where we're standing in Times Square to announce it, and we had for a week beforehand we were going to release it. We knew what we were going to do. The morning we were going to release it, Sports Illustrated wrote a hit piece on us, basically saying, that we hated women and all this stuff. And they called up and they said, we think we should wait. And I'm like, we're not waiting. We don't let feminists tell us when we do our shit.
That's the whole mission plan.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And they're like, all right, it's your thing. That was test number 1 right out of the gate.
That's awesome.
The bully mentality, it's like if a bully's bully, you got to punch him square in the nose.
Right.
You don't wait for them to bully you over and over. Wait, pick your moment to, you're going to get punched in the head every single day until you wait for that moment.
Right.
Isn't that amazing to be able to do that? Like, hey, I heard Sports Illustrated was saying terrible things about us. Well, here's our announcement.
Yeah.
Now we're
perfect.
an even bigger company.
I have people like this guy, Jamie O'Grady. I shouldn't have even said his name. I freaking hate him. Anytime, and he was the guy who published the Sports Illustrated piece. He didn't write it. He published it. Anytime something good happens, never mind Barstool My Life, I make sure to tweet at him. Be like, hey, you see we got this Comedy Central?
You still do it now?
I'll do that for the next 100 years. I'm a grudge guy. I hold long, hard, bad grudges. So I no matter what happens, if I win a $10 scratch ticket, I'll be like, hey, Jamie just won $10 on the scratch ticket.
Do you worry though that for every good thing that you have that you tweet to him, that eventually it's all going to come crashing down and he's going to be like, hey, I'm missing some of your tweets. What happened?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Give a fuck.
No, I don't care. I mean, it's the world. It's give it, take it, whatever. That's the one thing we used to get in disputes all the time. It's almost like the Ollie G thing. Once people know who you are, it's harder to find the natural disputes because people are a little more hesitant to
and they also know what they're coming for. Like
that's what I mean.
If you're typing in Barstool Sports into the browser and you're offended, you are an idiot.
Right.
Don't type it into your browser.
It's the
Simple
same
as
thing.
that.
Nobody has a gun to your head to make us come to our website.
Simple as that.
I also love that you're doing this show on Sirius. So Barstool Radio is on from noon to 2 p.m. Eastern weekdays on Rush, which is your channel, Lewis, channel 93.
Yes, indeed.
And the reason that I like this is because, people are like, you ask Lewis, and he's like, what, the future is? Well, actually, you're the difference because you also have a show on Sirius. But most podcasters are saying this is the future. It's not satellite radio.
SiriusXM should have a podcast network releasing a podcast from this show every single week, from Opie every week, from Bennington every week. It is a missed opportunity, and they are years behind of what podcasting networks are doing in real time. Because guys like you and I are sitting there going like, oh, cool, we want to deliver this content this way. There's no corporate structure. We make a decision. We write 3 emails, and it's being done.
But you're also aware of the benefit that this place has because you had a podcast network, and you're like, what if we had a podcast network and we could also harness that power that Sirius has over there to push the brand out that way? Because podcasting power, this is the one advantage that radio still has and will have as long as it exists, is that podcasting power is like people can find you and you can build your loyal audience and you can speak to your loyal audience. But radio is where people find you.
To a certain degree, I think the way young people are consuming content today is they're sharing it, and they're sharing it in real time in the moment they want to do it. You watch Netflix and the way TV shows are being released. I truly believe, and I host a show on SiriusXM Rush 93. I love the show that I do with Michael Bisping, but me and Michael Bisping are launching a podcast version of the show as well. There's a reason that we're doing that. There's a reason that we're doing it.
It's also because you guys probably aren't getting paid very well here.
You know what? Our contract's almost up.
That's a little part of it.
Podcast was a huge miss. We didn't podcast till we got bought. If we podcasted before we got bought, I'd be a much richer man right now.
Right, yeah.
Huge miss by me. Gigantic miss by me.
But like you said, you didn't know what you were doing in the beginning anyway.
Exactly.
You never know what you were doing.
No,
so
it's like,
not
but when
you
we
beat
started, it's
yourself
like churning didn't exactly, like we could have just turned on, like podcasting's fairly easy to do.
Yeah.
And like what you're saying, we don't know. We're trying new mediums. Someone tweeted at us the other day, it's like they're the only new age media company that's going backwards because it's like we're doing Sirius and TV when a lot of people are like, why are you going that way? Everything's moving the other way.
On demand. But here's the value, right? Here's the real value of SiriusXM, right? The power of Fox, the power of CBS, NBC. You have these monster brands. Typically, people just don't really know where to go to find content. The average person, driving their car in the Midwest, they're not going and finding new content. They need to be told what the brand new awesome content is. So SiriusXM goes, hey, Jim and Sam, boom, it's great content.
Exactly.
They trust SiriusXM, so that's the real value.
There's also
what's going to happen
there's also a credibility to it. Like now, the fact that you can go to Barstool and there's a SiriusXM logo there. Whoever doesn't know about it is like, oh, this is legit.
Yes.
There's a legitimacy to it that's not just like, It's just a guy who started a website.
100%.
Or podcast network or whatever it is.
Yeah, you're right. But I think that what's going to happen is these monster brands, and we're watching it happen with HBO Go and all of these other, they're embracing the new model, which is on-demand content.
Yes.
And that's what I say about Sirius. They should have a podcast. It should be SiriusXM podcasts that are all going out for free on iTunes. There's billions of dollars being made in the podcast industry right now. It's just money being left on the table, and this is a brand that would sell. So, I agree, but it's legitimizing, and it gives you, it puts you in people's cars and homes.
Yeah.
But SiriusXM will move in that direction as well.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, we do both.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I do both. I have a big wrestling podcast. Like it's and you could totally see the difference. And once you can figure out like what you guys did when you get both, you're like, this is it.
Yeah,
this is the way to do it.
Keep doing more. And the TV stuff, I always look at. It's a weird way to look at it. I always look at like MTV stars. It's like if you or the Vanderpump Rules show. These are people. TV is still to me. And this is a little off podcast, but going backwards, if you get on TV and your show is vaguely popular, you become a megastar.
Absolutely.
Like a megastar. Nobody else does that, where it's these nobodies. They're nobodies. And they become like universally recognized, basically.
Yeah.
And that to me is TV. That's why we're trying Comedy Central. And the podcasting you got to bring, for the most part, your own fans. Like like that's who is consuming your stuff for the most part.
Yeah. I mean, look, I went. Legion of Skanks is a podcast that I do that's very popular. We went from 200 people an episode downloading it for the first 6 months to 130, 140,000 now.
But it's
we
also
didn't get those. It wasn't because Big J got big. It wasn't because I got.
It was all that was combined. Like that has a lot to do with it.
It
actually.
added to it, but this is before Big J special. This is before a lot of this.
You guys still got big as comedians. It's not like you were just a podcast.
You're right. We had other channels to filter people in, but
plus you also all three you do like 150,000 podcasts.
Yeah,
so it's like all of them.
But it
all adds together.
That's it right there. It's going on. Here's the thing: if I go on a comedy podcast and I'm promoting my comedy podcast, there's a very good chance I'm going to take some of those listeners over. So it's about kind of
yes, exactly.
Yeah, marketing yourself to that channel specifically.
Cross promotion.
Yeah.
Do you have any beefs with other websites or anything like that? Speaking of cross promotion,
all of them.
None of them like you.
We've had our. I mean, I hate. Well, Gawker / Univision. More Deadspin. I never liked them. Mm-hmm. I mean, Bleacher Report.
You guys won that one.
Yeah, I know. I love it. Listen.
That's right. You were tweeting of a storm when Hogan won that lawsuit.
Oh, I was happy.
You loved that.
Yeah, I was very happy.
Yeah.
I was very happy about that. Bleacher Report. I just think they're eggs. Like I call them Twitter eggs because I don't think they have any personality. Mm-hmm. They're a huge company. I mean, they made tons.
Ask Jeeves can suck a dick.
You're not an Ask Jeeves guy.
You don't like Ask Jeeves. I hate that guy.
I have
specifically
weird disputes. Like there's a like grilled cheese chain, Cheese Boy, that I have a huge grudge versus.
Right.
Like it's just. Like,
I want to just hang out with Dave Portnoy and be friends with him. It's like a dude who's like, hey dude, we should just throw a drink at that table. Why not?
The greatest thing in the world is when you realize you have a voice and you're like, this is great. Everything that I hate, I could get more people to hate.
It's seriously the Cheese Boy. I just weird things like back in the day. This was a long time ago. I went to Cheese Boy with my wife. We both ate the grilled cheese. They were great grilled cheeses. We both tweeted at Cheese Boy like, hey, love the grilled cheese. He replied to her like, thanks, and ignored me. And I had, at the time, a fairly big Twitter follower. I'm like, he must have just not seen mine. So he did it again. Ignored. And then I started going down his feed. And this dude was replying to everybody. Yeah. He didn't have that many people tweeting at him being like, great grilled cheese. So for some reason, he just didn't like me.
Right.
And I actually said this, if you don't like me, I don't like you 10 times harder back.
I like that. That's a good philosophy to have.
I love everyone until I find out they don't like me, and then I want to kill their children.
I'm with you. 100%.
And I never stop. It's like, so I've still been going at Cheese. I have grudges that have been going, I don't like Bill Simmons.
You don't?
Nope.
So you must be happy about him. He's not doing it. He keeps losing it and stuff.
I made a press conference. Like we do these emergency. I was at a horse race because I'm a big horse guy. So I was in a suit. I had money. Granted, he's rich as anything, but I was
Doesn't
dancing.
matter, though.
I was dancing on his grave. Like I was so happy that show failed. And he's got the charisma of an ant. Literally. Right. He's like he's a brilliant writer.
Yes.
Brilliant. But on air, he's just the worst. So I was glad to see that happen. And that may be more of a territorial, like, we tried to reach out to him early Boston days. And I was a huge fan of his when he started. And he was just a jerk. So I was very happy to see him fail. He blocks me. Who blocks somebody on Twitter?
Yeah, I don't. I stopped blocking. Like in the beginning of Twitter, I was blocking. Yeah, you can. I don't remember the last time I blocked somebody.
You're soft if you block, and it's not like I tweet at them. It's like I never
Especially
even.
when it's like another guy who's like in your industry, right? It's not like some anonymous fan that you just don't want to hear from anymore.
He's so thin-skinned. He's so thin-skinned. So I was thrilled to see his thing fail. Now, when you get like karma, like we're doing at Comedy Central, probably disaster, and everyone will point at us being, aha, like you guys suck. So
that's fine though.
Yeah, no, it's part. You make your bed, you sleep in it. He was a big enemy. Enemy. He doesn't like me for sure.
I can see, but I get that. Like if I were him, based on the conversation that we've had for the last 90 seconds, I would also not like you.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the capability, I don't think, to do what I said earlier, though, to like me 10 times, to not like me 10 times harder.
Right.
Like, he doesn't have the type of hate I have in my body.
Imagine Cheese Boy sitting there right now like, yeah, motherfucker, you want to bet?
Yeah. Like, I think if I met him, he'd try to, like, we'd try to smooth it over. I'm not one of those smooth over guys.
So you're not one of those guys that if you meet an enemy, it'll be like, yeah, we just do this just for the drama, for the internet.
So you mean it? Are you? Let me ask you, because you're also kind of like a big, fairly fit dude. Are you the type of guy
that's like the nicest, most inaccurate thing that's ever
no,
been said?
I mean, you're talking.
Can I get that sound? I don't know who makes sound clips, but I want that sound clip.
I'm looking at you and Sam right now, so maybe it's just comparatively.
true. You're
We
a bigger
won't
guy
put
than
that
me.
part in. Just give me the big fit dude.
But I'm saying, like, are you if you ran into Goodall on the street, would you physically try to like go at him? Would you try to make it? Would you hold on? Would you try?
That was a weird pronouncement of
Goodell.
Goodell.
I don't watch football.
Yeah.
I watch
Roger Goodell.
I watch MMA. I'm a man.
Well,
By the way, the
you're
MMA
right.
people hate us because we're on
Why
the
do the MMA
MMA
people
channel.
hate
Why does Dana
Yeah, that's my
Whit
channel.
hate you?
I host a show with the middleweight champion.
I know. And we don't talk MMA at all.
Yeah.
So we have people who are used to the MMA being like, who the fuck are these guys? They won't.
You're like,
We do
I don't
have
know,
people.
I don't know who Dana White is.
You're right. I mean, like, I'll watch the big fights, but we don't talk MMA. We've had a couple people fight in the office for real,
Right.
which gives it a little taste, but we're not MMA. I got sidetracked. No, I'm a pussy.
Yeah.
I don't fight. I've never been in a fight in my life.
But you'll use your words.
I will verbally spar with you. If I think it's turning to actual violence, I'll run.
But if Roger Goddard,
Yes.
if Roger Goddard came up to you and said, "Hey, I heard what you fucking said. I'm going to punch you in the mouth right now," would you square up and punch him back?
I'd probably try to tackle him. Like, I wouldn't start just swinging because
Football
it's not
rules.
my no.
Yeah.
And I think he's a big dude. I said I'd like to spear him. Like, I'd like to see him
Like an
walking,
African, just fucking throw
no,
it
no,
down
no,
the
like
field.
Goldberg, like from wrestling,
Right.
when you run and like spear him. That's what I'd like to do. And this is a big thing. There's like local Boston radio stations are saying he's not coming to Foxborough specifically because of the things I've been saying, which is I said it's fair game to spit on him. I said
That's a terrible thing to say.
I think that's fair game.
Almost
Okay.
positive that's illegal.
It is.
That's
It's
assault.
a felony, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
But I still
No, it's not a felony.
What is it?
No, it's like
Well, if it's assault,
it's a violation. Come on, guys.
it's
Nobody's-
illegal.
Somebody just got arrested for that. Pac-Man Jones.
Yeah, you can't spit on people. I looked this up because I've had plans to spit in people's faces,
Yeah.
and it's just not worth going to jail to spit in
But
somebody's
if
face.
he's walking down the aisle, you're up in the bleachers, and
What, are they
all
gonna catch
Patriot
you?
fans, no one's going to be like, "Oh, this guy spit." Everyone hates
sure
him
that
so
happens
much
all the time, by the way.
So I said, like, if somebody was like, "Oh, I tripped Roger Goodell and he broke his arm," or I like punched him in the face, or he died, even, I'd be like, "Aha, that's funny." I don't condone that, but he deserves everything he
I
gets.
put a pipe bomb under his car.
Yeah, I don't condone that.
But
if it happened, I'd be like,
Jesus,
that's
fair
not
game.
the worst thing.
That's what fair game means. Like, it is what
right,
it is.
Right. I didn't do it.
Plus,
Again,
you're
I'm
not
very
the police.
clear.
Like, you're
Right.
not making laws.
And I'm not getting, and then, oh, you're telling these crazy Barstool fans are going to do it to get on Barstool. It's like, again, I'm not condoning it. I think that clears me of all charges.
But it would get front page on Barstool.
It would. And
Yeah.
we'd be like, ah, ha, ha, ha. Like, you kind of had it coming. You kind of had it coming.
Somebody put a pipe bomb under his car.
Like, again, don't condone it, but he had it coming.
Adrian, do you have any questions for Dave Portnoy, who is one of the hosts of Barstool Radio, which is weekdays from noon to 2 p.m. Eastern on Rush on Channel 93? Adrian is like, he's the biggest Barstool fan there is. He literally, our other guy, D-Bag, he works here. He's not exactly a sports guy. You know, he's
Yeah.
not the typical Barstool reader. He probably peruses like feminist blogs more often than
I would think so.
Barstool. So literally every day, anytime I have to, and all I have to do is mention to Adrian, you know, Saturday's only a couple days away.
He gives the boys.
Well,
Yeah.
he jumps on top of D-Bag and starts headlining him, and lets him know it's for the boys.
Yeah. That's
right, yeah.
So you don't have any.
No.
You're just enjoying
spitting in the
this.
face is a crime. Court rules. There you go. I see it right on the thing.
Yeah.
It's a crime.
I
It's
did it
fair
one
game,
time-
but it's a crime.
One time I spit in a subway conductor's face.
Why?
Because I tried to ask him directions and he was ignoring me while I was on the train. He was just being a dick just because it's
This
the
goes
MTA.
back to the Build-A-Bear thing. You have anger.
No,
That's
no,
your
no,
issue.
no, no. MTA, it's a government-sponsored monopoly, okay? And we have to take the MTA. There's no other options. That's why I love Uber and Lyft and all these companies that are coming in.
Yeah?
TLC and MTA, it's two of the worst organizations in New York. And you'll see every time you get into a taxi, they have a shitty attitude. Every time you get on the subway, they have a shitty attitude. Every employee, because you literally have to take their services. They made it a felony if you punch a cab driver or an MTA employee in the face. The reason they made it a felony is because so many people were punching them in the face that they're like, we need to change the rules here.
Yeah.
So, so the guy wouldn't give me directions. He was just being a dick. So I got off the train and he was kind of just talking shit to me and staring at me. And as soon as the doors closed and it started to pull away a little bit, I just had a mouthful of spit in my mouth. And I went, I mean, it looked like I threw a water balloon at his face. It
nailed
was
him,
crazy.
though.
Like the whole time he's
Great.
talking shit, like I'm like just getting as much spit in my mouth as possible. It was great.
That's awesome.
I can't spit.
No?
I mean that I'm encouraging
You can't
spitting.
fight, you can't
No,
spit.
like I can't do like a loogie. Like it just comes out all over the
Just
place.
spits
it
on
on
your own
yourself.
chin.
Yeah, right. But if you can spit and he showed up, I'd spit on him.
Let me ask you, KFC, one of your big guys over at Barstool, he thinks that there's a good chance that you'll lose interest in the SiriusXM show and then he'll be able to host it himself.
Is that true?
Yeah.
He hasn't said that out loud.
I've heard him say it.
To who did he say that? To
He said it
you?
to me, yeah.
It's not the craziest thing I've ever heard, if I'm being honest. Because like what we're running into, we have this 12 to 2 time slot. Then we do our rundown, and then there's tons of stuff going on. But KFC is a jealous little vindictive like bitch. To be honest, so yeah. So I mean, it wouldn't surprise me.
So you think he's more
said.
saying that because he thinks that he should have been the one to get the gig, not
Well,
you?
here's KFC. The background. He was the first one to do podcasting. All right. He did this before we got bought, KFC Radio. And I didn't pay it much attention, to be totally honest. Like, let KFC do his little thing. He was making money on it a lot. Both of us were. It wasn't crazy money. And then when Chernin bought us, they're like podcasting, and it exploded. Podcasting became a big part of what we did. And I think KFC is just,
That's his territory now.
Yeah, and he's just generally like a miserable person.
He is.
He is. Like,
Wow.
a legitimately miserable. Ask anyone, any Barstool, who's the most miserable, like angst-ridden, just kind of loser type guy at Barstool.
He's
It's
a
like
loser.
KFC.
Oh, wow.
By the way,
Okay.
this is him coming at KFC 10 times harder right now.
And by the way,
he
KFC
comes at me pretty
now
hard.
it's going to be a grudge.
KFC is his employee.
Yeah,
This
I
is one
know.
of the,
He's one of our top guys.
Yeah.
Like, whoever hired this guy, he should be fired. Wait a minute.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, you want to talk about
But is
one of
he
my
the guy-
rivalries?
Yeah.
I have a rivalry with his newborn daughter, Shay Clancy. It's like an ongoing.
Why do you have that rivalry?
Because I feel like I'm putting her through like college and she gets all this love and it's like I never get the respect. It's like he should
Right.
be more respectful because I'm paying his daughter's like bills. Like we went to his wedding and he sat us in the back row. He didn't introduce me to his parents. Who the fuck doesn't invite
Wow.
the boss in? Who doesn't say, hey, parents, this is my boss, Dave. He's
Yeah.
the one who gave. This guy was an accountant.
Well, you
he
did-
was sitting. His life was
Honestly,
rotting away.
You're
did
too
wear
big
a-
to ride a subway. You shouldn't be at this Joker's wedding to begin with.
Back row. I needed binoculars to see the ceremony. It was terrible.
You did wear a Goodell as Hitler shirt to his wedding, though.
No, I was in a nice suit. I was
Maybe
dressed.
that's
I was dressed nice as the Barstool guys. It was upper deck, last row,
That's
no
ridiculous.
introduction.
That's ridiculous. I also like that, like, you don't see the money that you're giving him as an even exchange for the work that he does. You see it as just like a gift. Like,
charity.
I'm just nice enough to put your kid through college.
Again, you got to go back. It's like this guy was afraid to take. I'm the only one who was like, you know what? Drop my balls on the table and try to start this company, quit my job. This guy, he was an accountant. I had to convince him to come over. It was already made there. He's a very talented guy, but he's a miserable New Yorker.
Okay.
And it could be because he's like a Jets, Mets, Knicks fan.
Right.
So he's got the worst, but he doesn't have a sunny disposition.
He doesn't.
But
He
maybe
doesn't.
some would say I don't either. I don't
Do you
know.
think he gets the show, though, if you lose interest?
I think he'll maybe get his own show.
Here on Sirius?
Yeah.
Oh, very, very exciting. Well, look, you got other serious shows to do. I know you're on the tour promoting the big show. You can come back here anytime, though.
I appreciate it. I had fun.
It's been a lot of fun. Dave Portnoy, of course. You can go to Barstool Sports. You can listen to Barstool Radio from noon to 2 p.m. Eastern weekdays on Rush Channel 93 here on Sirius XM. And Stool Presidente is your Twitter handle.
Yes, great.